Well, today's July 2nd, or I wish it was July. January 2nd. It's almost like July out here. This is, I wouldn't say this is quite abnormal much anymore. I mean, this seems to happen more years than not. In January, we got weather like this again. Of course, next week I think is going to be a miserable week, because that usually holds true. Next week is the Pennsylvania Farm Show, and we always seem to get miserable weather during that week. But it's nothing for us. I mean, I've been to the farm show. I went to the farm show 3 years while I was in high school. And I say, whether they get down there that they're shutting stuff down for, it's nothing compared to what we get up here. But it's a nice enough day that I actually opened up the curtains today on this side. I didn't open up the big curtain. It's not that big of a deal, but I don't think I really need to. Probably would have helped open a little bit to get a little more airflow, because it's one thing you gotta really watch when you get weather changes like we've been getting. Where last week we were below zeros, now today it's around 50. Them temperature swings is just an invitation for pneumonia. So just open up the curtains, open up the doors, keep as much fresh air moving through here, and should be all right. But what I'm working on here right now is fixing my gate. It's even nice today. I got the four-wheeler out too. Yeah, I got that out. They were right when I bought that thing. They said that these Arctic cats, or at least this one anyhow, doesn't like cold weather. And then I had a miserable time getting it started today. Of course, it's been sitting probably a month since I've started it last. But, and I do have some of the wiring screwed up on the throttle body. That doesn't seem to bother it, but maybe that's part of the reason why it doesn't start very well in the cold either. But it's, you crank and crank and crank that thing, and it'll fire, and then it won't do nothing. You got to catch it just right. But I figure it's nice enough day I can run it here a little bit and see what it does. But yeah, I'm getting on this the other day, probably about 4 or 5 days ago, when I was scraping the barn here. When I scrape this alley, I push it up here, and I try not to. I used to butt all the time up against the wall, until I broke the concrete loose here, because they never anchored it into the floor. They just poured on top of the floor with no rebar. So I broke the concrete out here and pushed the wall out. Got it somewhat fixed back. So now I try not to push against it. If anything, I push here, and then I'll get over here and push it out the door, just scrape it on the floor instead of trying to bucket it up. Well, the other day I did push too far and I curled up. And I don't know how this actually happened, but, or why this I should say. It happened because I did that. I broke the lower hinge pin off, which I don't understand, because I was lifting up on it. If anything, it should have butted against this one. It did bend it a little bit, but it should have broke that one and not that one. So I just got done drilling a hole into the post, and now I'm working on screwing this thing in. And it's gonna be a long, tedious deal. So one of the things, I don't know what kind of driver I could put on this, and probably take the impact wrench and drive it in. But some of us don't have to be fully automated all the time. A little manual labor doesn't hurt nobody. In fact, this country needs to go back to more manual labor. There needs to be less of this damn automation around. Got too many weak people in this country anymore. If things keep going the way they are, they're going to be the ones that can't survive. Well, I'm going to work at this. I got to have both hands to get these last couple turns. It's getting tight. You know, I got it hung back up there. I got one of these jacks holding it up here right now. I'm just debating whether I should I mean, I got plenty of these pins around. You buy these gates and they come with 2 of these hinge pins. Well, I've bought gates and just tied them like that for dividers. Or you got like this gate here. This is the second gate I've had in here. If you go to Tractor Supply, it's worth buying these red gates over them gray gates. Them there are so damn tinny. I've already, well, that one I had over there till they tore it up. So I took the gate I had right there to make my lane to go out to the pasture and to put over there. They bent that all up. They've bent these because for some reason my cows, all they do is fight. I don't know, never figured out why. And it's always the one laying down or the one that's lame that they beat the hell on. But I've had other ones try to jump that gate, bust them down, bend them up. These red ones, because I had one, and that's what I had in here, and I had a cow like scratching her butt on it, bent it all to hell. So I ended up buying one of these red ones, and it's held up. They have busted this divider off. But they're just tack welded on there really anyhow. Now they are fully through. Somehow, well, maybe I broke them bent them with a skid steer too, because I do leave it fixed up somewhat. Partially propped when I'm moving stuff around, so I can come in, just bump the gate and push it open. Maybe I did bend them too, but they bent them out, broke them out. But it's not like, I mean, there's enough pin in there. I mean, it goes down there 3/4 of the way. My only concern is I need this gate when it's hanging here to stay against the wall, and I don't know if this will act like a pivot for it, that it'll want to swing back this way. I kind of like to have it so it wants to swing that way. I guess all I can do is put it on there, let it down, see, make sure it hangs there, see how it closes. And that's going to be the next thing. I'm going to have to probably change. If I can change that, that's already up against that bar all the way. I don't know how well it's going to line up with my latch. Because, well, actually, yeah, I might have to raise it because I've actually had to, because that broke off in there. I actually drilled a little bit lower. So drop the gate down about 1 inch or so. Well, you can see where that hinge piece was here before, now it's up to there. Yeah, let's let my jack down, see where it goes. I haven't tightened up that hinge, but it ain't going to go there. It should be fine, it wants to stay there. Yeah, that ain't no real big deal. I'll just have to take this off and move it up here. Ain't gonna lift high enough. I say one problem leads to another. But at least it'll be hanging here now. I tighten up that and this should be good to go. Oh, people are driving around today. We have more traffic today than we had all weekend. Nope, I think that was my brother. So, and of course, I brought only, I might have one on the 4-wheeler yet. Maybe 1/2 inch, and I brought the 9/16 because I know these were 9/16. Yeah, let's see how this swings open here now. That's the other thing, as long as it clears that concrete curb. And it wants to drift back. Yeah, I guess it'll stay there. Yeah, if I have to put a string there and tie it open, I tie it open. Alright, I'm gonna monkey around with this. Yeah, this project's wrapped up. This is why I got the four-wheeler out. Go to tighten this one up, and the nut loosened fine, but it broke as soon as I tried tightening it. There's enough rust on it, I guess, so I had to go get another nut. Then, of course, like I say, I had to move this up. I moved it from here up to here. That's, like I said, that's how much sag and play you got in these posts. Because I only dropped it maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches over there. And I've raised this. This would have been here, so that's a good 6 inches. I raised that. Can't lower it anymore. I mean, I guess I'm lucky. Maybe this will change this year. Maybe I'm getting some luck here now. But that's as low as I can put that. And it latched up just fine in there. Before I'd have to lift up on the gate just a little bit, which I was fine with that too. But I guess as long as I don't have to move that around. Oh, come on. There. So that's going to make it easier to clean bar now. Before I had it tied to that post and just hanging there, and I have to lift this off. I may end up changing this here yet. See, that's one thing I'm worried about. Man, that's up. It's got a twist on it, so that might make it forcing out this way. I think maybe I could twist this hinge one way or the other. I think what I got to do is I got to bring this forward, because I think I end up on that one towards the wall just a little bit. So now it's top might be leaning out here a little bit, and that might be why it wants to come off the wall there. So maybe if I loosen this up, push that, bring this so the gate comes this way. If I move this from the center here over to here, so this, push that towards the wall. I might put the twist in it to it that I need. Yeah, I'm gonna try that. Yeah, I don't know if it helped much or not. Did move it over quite a bit, and it doesn't seem to make much of a difference. It did seem to. It raised it up maybe a little bit. Now that pin there is hitting more on the top side of the latch, but I say if worst comes to worst, I can always put a string or a chain around here and chain this to that pole so it stays open. If it stays like that, it ain't a bigger problem. Like the biggest thing I gotta watch is sometimes I get too carried away. If I'm scraping down through here trying to come along the wall, if this is sticking out, I'm gonna ram into that with a bucket and really screw the damn thing up. So I just gotta watch how I scrape along here. So that'd be the worst of it. But at least now I can open and close this as I want to. And it stays latched, cows stay in. It is not really straight. It's kind of, you can see a top line, it kind of drifts down. Could be because the gate's bent a little bit too. Like I said, that down here's bent, that might throw it all out of whack. No sense getting too particular with it. Like I say, the cows rub their butts against it or they work on it. It's going to get tweaked a little bit anyhow. I hit it with a skid steer. I know I bang into it every once in a while turning down here, so can't get too worried about it. Some people have that OCD that everything's got to be perfect and cleaned and washed and in a neat order, and hey, life's too short sometimes to worry about that crap. Yeah, I got one other project I'm going to try to get done here today. I don't know if I'll show it or not, but So, on to that. I guess I got all my tools picked up.